I had reached my 25th year in the military. When you're released from the Canadian Forces, you have to go through a medical screening. And then my doctor called me in and told me that I had an enlarged spleen and it had the potential to rupture, which would likely kill me. You have to understand that I just spent 25 years in the military. I had this perfect retirement job lined up that was financially rewarding for me and my family. I was totally devastated. I started to panic. I got terribly emotional. I had to go tell my bosses what has happened. Basically, I ended up at the Francis Liver Clinic at the Toronto Western Hospital, and I met Jordan and his staff. Jordan told me that, yes, I have liver disease. I do have hepatitis C. My liver was badly cirrhosed.
Lance is a special patient of mine. When he first came to see me, I was struck by the fact that this was a guy who was incredibly healthy. He told me that he had just run a marathon about 9 months before I met him, and yet I looked at his blood tests and his ultrasound result, and he already had very advanced cirrhosis. We treated him with the best available therapies. He had a really tough time, and things just kept getting worse, and he started to develop all of the complications of end-stage liver disease. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure he was actually going to make it. He really sailed through the transplant, recovered, and this guy who was beleaguered and in and out of hospital really got back to full strength.
So 2 years later, after I was cured, I told him that I was going to run this Toronto Scotia Waterfront Marathon and asked him if he would mind joining me.
How could I say no? So of course I signed up with him and we ran it together, and it was really amazing to finish that last mile and see him embrace his family. Because I work in both seeing patients and doing research, it's really all part of the same thing. And to be able to know that the research we were doing that started on that path from the award that I received from the AASLD Foundation led to the ability to be able to cure Lance of his hep C, that was incredibly rewarding. To be able to tell him that this would not attack his new liver and he could go on and get on with his life, doesn't get better than that.
The foundation has really filled an important void for physicians and physician scientists who want to study liver disease. The funding climate is always problematic, and you really can't depend just on the government for funding. So without partners like AASLD Foundation, a lot of great research would never happen. There is a very rigorous process to evaluate the quality of the research projects that are submitted to the foundation. We can only fund about 40% of meritorious awards. Donors now have a unique opportunity to fund a larger number of early career investigators to really populate the field with the smartest, the brightest, the most driven, with the greatest desire to have an impact on their field.
I think the key thing about the AASLD Foundation that differs from other areas is they really have their finger on the pulse of what's important in liver disease.
Because of the AASLD Foundation, I'm able to do what I love with the people I love for the patients that I love.
So it gives people, who are affected with this disease hope in the future, so that they can go on and, continue to live their lives and be with their family. And it's just extremely grateful.